Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
Attention, if you are a frustrated man who feels like he is not getting the results he wants in his life, health, wealth, relationships, and personal growth, then I've got a powerful free video training for you to help you become a strong, grounded man so you can unlock unlimited power in your life, business, and relationships. Go to kfmconfidence.com to get instant access to this training. Again, that's kfmconfidence.com. If you want a Cliff Notes version of the best material that I've learned after 300 interviews on this podcast about being a stronger, more powerful man, then it's all here at kfmconfidence.com. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Timothy Sykes. It's his second time here on the show. Penny stock trader, entrepreneur, made over $1.5 million by day trading when he was in college. He has since been helping others day trade and invest, and he's helped many others become successful doing so. Tim, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
All right, let's dive in. We start off with the favorite success quote, something that you've lived by that's helped you on your journey. So what do you got for us?
Be patient, be dedicated, and understand it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Be patient, be dedicated. When you're investing in penny stocks, I feel like it would be tough to be patient with penny stocks. Like it's something that you try and make money today, or it's like a quick paced industry.
Yeah, dead on. I'm patient with the process. I'm not patient with penny stocks. If the penny stock actually moves the wrong way, I don't trust it. So I get out very quickly. My rule number one is to cut losses quickly. But understand that in order to truly get wealthy over time, it's a process. You know, no one stock is going to make me rich. The way that I've made millions is trading thousands and thousands and thousands of stocks, sometimes being wrong, sometimes having to cut losses quickly, but being patient with the overall process.
I like it. I think that today is something that's harder to have is patience. I feel like we live in this instant gratification society where we want results now. We want the dream now. But I think true wealth, you're right. I think there's a level of patience and discipline in achieving that. True wealth, not making money quickly, but true wealth. And that's what I wanted to talk about and why I brought you on here today. I wanted to focus on what do you do after you make some money? And how do you continue to grow that rather than lose it? And you know, worst case, end up right back where you started a couple of years from your success.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was so messed up, like getting too much money too quickly when I was in college. If you look at a lot of lotto winners and a lot of sports stars, you know, they don't deal with their quick earnings very well. You know, you can blow it on cars. You can like just waste it on trips too quickly. You know, you can buy a house. So I was actually kind of glad that I made it in the stock market. So if I took any money out, I would actually not be able to trade as much because I'm actually using it every day. So I was grateful for that. But at the same time, you just have to be aware of, you know, what makes you comfortable, what makes you happy. For me, it's not about all this money all at once. It's about what can the money do? It's, you know, just a means to an end. And for now, I have my own charity, and it gives me great pleasure and happiness and meaning to give millions of dollars away to charity.
And something that I had read was you had built 20 schools with a foundation, Pencils of Promise, with Adam Braun, who was on here not too long ago on this show. But can you share more information about that?
Yeah. So my goal is actually to build 1,000+ schools in third world countries. But my favorite charity is Pencils of Promise. They have built over 400 schools in Guatemala, Laos, and Ghana. Adam founded it. So I donated $1 million to them to build 20 schools and to buy a bunch of tablets to actually improve the educational process. Education is where it's at. Like, you can try and help these countries with food and water and supplies, but they don't become self-sufficient. So education and knowledge is what's key to actually break the cycle of poverty. And it's not easy. It's going to take a while, but over time, when you have these communities and these individuals who are given the chance to expand their brain and, really get knowledge and get skills, it's going to be an amazing few years and decades.
Did you ever see yourself saying something like that? I want to build 20, or I want to build 1,000 schools, and so far you've done 20. Is this something that you had seen? Is something you've always wanted to do, or just as you're starting to grow in a new direction here?
Yeah, I mean, it's really recent. If you had told me this like a decade ago, I would have been like, you're out of your mind. But at the same time, like, there's only so many material possessions and toys that you can have before they start kind of just disappointing you. And I know a lot of unhappy millionaires, a lot of unhappy billionaires where, the money has lost its excitement. And this is a really scary thing. A lot of people like work their whole lives to try to get rich. And then when they're rich, they're still not happy. And it's kind of depressing. So for me, I never got to the point where like I'm not having fun with it, but I was searching for more meaning. And so by creating my own charity, having this goal to build 1,000 schools, I actually have 35 schools now built or in development with several other charities. But, I'm 2-3% of the way to my goal, and 1,000 schools. I mean, we're talking $50+ million needing to be donated. It's not an easy goal, but if you actually look at goal setting and performance theory by professors, Locke and Latham, you need to have these big goals to actually increase your daily performance. So I'm working away chip by chip, school by school, day by day, and eventually I will succeed.
Why do you think that happens to individuals where they become sad or depressed? They work their entire lives really pulling off the impossible to build a business, to make it happen, and go through all of the hardship of building a business and in many cases failing in business, and then finally building one that succeeds. And then they finally get there, and what was it? They're feeling empty. They're feeling, is it like hopeless? What is it? Is it they lost the drive, or?
I think it's a little bit of everything. When you're grinding, even if you're not successful, I mean, you have a mission. Once you make a lot of money, your mission is a little diminished because, you've made it. You've kind of like lost the eye of the tiger. And it's like, Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you have to try to get that fire back. When you have nothing, you work so crazy. But then once you make a lot, it's like, wait a minute, like you got to enjoy life. You got to pull back a little bit. Why stress all the time? And it's tough to try to stay, on that kind of like wave of momentum where you're just working so hard, and you need that momentum. You need that fire to really succeed. So I've seen a lot of people become very successful. And I'm proud that, I now have several millionaire students, but they're still grinding every day. So for them, it's not just about the end goal. It's not just about the money. It's the journey. And I think a lot more people need to appreciate the journey rather than just saying like, even if you fail, oh, it's all over. No, you still have the journey. And even if you fail once, you can get right back on and try again. It's crazy to me how many people give up after small mistakes or small failures, and they let those losses, they let those failures win. And for me, I still make mistakes. I've been successful, but I've had, a roller coaster of ups and downs. And even if I make a mistake, even let's say I lost all my money, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I would just get right back on and say, okay, I learned what not to do. Next, now let me try something new and let me keep challenging myself. And that's why, like, when you get rich, I mean, you can spend money on yourself and your loved ones, and I encourage that. I still have fun. I'm not like a communist, but at the same time, you're looking for more. You're looking for a new challenge. So my new challenge is to see how many people I can help with my charity. And that's a good thing to be. It makes the money much more meaningful. It makes the whole journey worthwhile.
Very powerful. I feel your message. I am suspecting that there are some people listening to this who are thinking, easy for you to say, Tim, like, you're a successful guy now. You have millions of dollars. You're probably driving. What are you driving these days?
I've got a Ferrari, McLaren, and Lamborghini. I got the trifecta.
You got the trifecta. So what do you say to those people?
I'm definitely spoiled, but at the same time, I didn't grow up with this. I made this all myself, and sometimes wish like, I'm not going to just lose my money for the sake of it, like say, oh, let me teach myself a good lesson. But
Right.
if I did, I know what my mindset would be. It would be hard. It would be rough. I'm sure I would take like a whole public beating for a little while, but I would get right back on, and that would really, amp me up even more. I've had times where I lost $500,000 plus while I was running a hedge fund. The New York Post came out with an article said party's over for hedge fund king. I was never a hedge fund king. I had a hedge fund of a small few $1 million. Reuters wrote a whole article saying failed hedge fund manager tries again on the internet. Like, I've had bad press, but it motivates me. So any loss, any mistake, anything that's negative, I take it and I use it and I turn it into energy and fuel for me during my journey. And I think that's what a lot of people should learn to do. It doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you've been. You can't control your success. You can't control the outcome. All you can control is your preparation and how you react to certain events, good or bad.
Yeah. What I'm getting here is challenge keeps us, I almost want to say, sane. That if we don't have challenge or a mission or something that we wake up and we're not quite there yet, we have something to do, there's this thing we want to achieve, that keeps us moving forward. But when we have achieved it and then we don't create a new challenge, like we just kind of rest on our laurels, then I think, like you had mentioned earlier, then we can start to feel like lost or just sad or depressed or just unhappy.
Yeah, I love having a mission. I love having a challenge and seeing what more I can do. I never am going to like retire. The stock market is always going to be open. I might try different businesses. Like I didn't know that I would get into teaching a few years ago, but then it kind of just fell into my lap. And so I'm riding that wave. You don't know what the future holds, but I will say that by having a mission, by having a goal, by challenging yourself and always trying to do more and push yourself, it makes life so much more exciting. I can't even imagine like retired life. Like if I'm just playing golf every day,
Right.
There's just no purpose to my life. Like, I don't know. It's not for me. If that suits you, if that's what you want, then by all means do it. We're all different. But for me, I love the grind. I love being the underdog, especially.
Yeah. And what we're talking about here is not just having a mission in general, but once you've achieved your mission, that you, of course, take some time off or whatever, but you set out to do it again. And I think that's where people can get lost in that. It's I already did it. And so I'm going to just rest on all this success and live off of this money. And then I think the depression can start to creep in.
Do it again and do it bigger. Always try and see what you're capable of. I mean, if you dream big, and you might think it's impossible, but it's pretty amazing what we can do after we really try and tinker, especially in this day and age. Like, it's important to note that this is the most exciting time technologically, I believe, since the printing press several centuries ago. And what might not have been possible or very easy to do 20, 30, 40 years ago with the internet, with all these new tools, with all these new technologies, impossible stuff becomes just improbable. And it's going to be an exciting few years and decades as we're just scratching the surface of the internet and blockchain technology and all this stuff, where we're looking at the world in different ways, and it's increasing our knowledge and our education and our abilities like never before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was just reading this post before we started chatting, Tim, and someone put that website Quora, it's like a QA website with smart people, and he's like, how can I make $1 million before 30, right? It's a generic kind of get rich question. And then one of these guys that had the most upvotes, he responded with, the first problem that you have is that you're not thinking big enough. You shouldn't be aiming for $1 million, aim for something much bigger. And I think there's a lot, he had the most upvotes, and I think there's just a lot of power in thinking bigger. If you miss your goal, then you're definitely going to surpass the smaller goal that you had previously set.
100%. And I have some people, I have the millionaire challenge. I have some people who message me and they're like, I don't want to make $1 million. Just teach me how to make 1,000. And for me, it's like, I want to figure out how to do something big so that even when I do screw up, like I still reach, a small goal. And so this happens actually a lot on stock trades, where I say my goal is to make 20 or 30% in a few days, but maybe I'm up like 10% or 7%, and then the stock kind of starts leveling out. I'll take it. Even though I haven't reached my goal, I adapt to the market, and it's okay to hit a single you don't always have to hit home runs if you like baseball analogies. I always try and say, like, I'm like the Ichiro of the stock market. I take single after single after single after single. I don't even go for home runs all the time. And I'm okay with that because I have an overall goal. And I know that the first time I made millions of dollars, my average gain is just a few $1,000s. Like, you don't have to try to make $1 million on one trade. And I do believe in, kind of this, I guess it's a dichotomy where, like, you want to dream big and you want to aim big. And at the same time, you have to be okay with sometimes the best case scenario is you're taking a small win and you can't do the big thing. But if you take enough small wins over time, it adds up to the big thing.
Small
it's
wins
cool.
add up. Yeah. Small wins add up to the big goal. Absolutely. There's this quote where it's like, I think it's Jim Rohn. He says, if you took all the wealth away from the richest people in the world, it wouldn't be too long before they got it all back. Meaning it's not about the money. It's like the mindset. It's the skills. It's like the negotiation ability, like your ability to build teams and systems is more valuable than, for the most part, most of those people would be able to get it back.
I agree 100% where, there's a certain skill set that successful people have learned. And maybe not all of them will get their money back. Some people, they don't handle
right place, right time.
They don't handle defeat. They don't handle mistakes very well. But I'll say that the vast majority of self-made millionaires and successful people have that knowledge. Like, I know what worked the first time. I know how to grow my charity in a field I know nothing about, but I know kind of what to do because of the success I've had in other industries and the work ethic and the time it takes. Like, I have a lot of students who are athletes and they're great students because they know the kind of ridiculous work ethic. I have this new student, Roland. He's turned $4,000 now into $300,000 in 2017. And he is studying literally 17 hours a day. And he used to play professional soccer. So he knows the kind of dedication that's required, and he got injured. And most other people, like, 17 hours a day. Are you kidding me? Like, what are you, a samurai soldier? Like, that's impossible. But athletes understand the sacrifice and their family understands. Roland's wife is very supportive of him. And that is what it takes. Like, you have to work harder. You have to push yourself more than you ever thought possible to truly be successful. And once you do, you're still not guaranteed success, but it increases your odds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's that skills. It's the discipline that I think he's developed in the sport to be able to get back up and keep going when he's been knocked down, because that's what the game teaches you. And you get to play again. Like, games are short. There's a time, and you lose one game, but you get to play again. You get to play again. You get to play again. And so when you're trying to, whether you're trading stocks or you're building a business, or even you're just trying to improve your health or whatever it is, you get to play again. Tomorrow, you get to play again. You get to wake up, you get to play again, and then you might have failed, you might lose the game, someone else might have beat you, but you get to wake up tomorrow and you get to play again. And
you have endless opportunities to prove yourself while you're alive. Okay, the game is not over. I have several students who are in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, and they're just learning stock trading. And they're like, is it too late for me to become a millionaire? And the answer is no. It's never too late as long as you have breath in your body, okay? You'll know it's too late when you're dead, and then you cannot do anything. And I'm not going to get into, afterlife or multiple lives, but for all we know, there is one life to live, and you have to go as long and hard as you can. And that's all you can do. You can't guarantee success, but you can control how much effort you put in.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm reading this book called Me Inc. by Gene Simmons, the Kiss, the rock star. And I didn't think I would learn so much about business from this musician, but like, he's just always trying. Like, he's always trying new ventures. He's bringing on new, he's like sponsoring bands, or like, writing movie scripts. Like, he's just doing so much. And he's like, people ask him, like, why are you doing so much? And he's like, well, because most of these aren't going to succeed.
Yeah.
And he knows that, like, you got to swing. He's swinging for the fences. And the more that he swings, he's like, I just need one of these to take off. That's it. And then that's what's all worth it. I'm not just playing. I'm not just a musician. Like, I'm doing so many different things in so many different industries, and most of these will fail. And he knows that, and he says that with confidence, and he's okay with that because he knows the one winner will pay multiple for all the failure that he's had.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing. Some people, like, they put all their eggs in one basket. Like, this has to succeed. Like, most stuff is going to fail. 90% of traders lose money. Most startups fail. There's a reason why so many people like the 9 to 5 rat race, not because it pays so well or it's so much fun, but because there's, rough safety in that. And in the other worlds, like in the stock market and startups and entrepreneurship, I mean, it is eat what you kill. So if you put all your eggs in one basket, chances are you're going to lose and you're going to be disappointed, and many people do give up. So if you look at like the average millionaire, they have 7 or 8 streams of income. And sometimes you go into a business and you find out that, your original business idea isn't working. So you got to be willing to pivot. I've made millions from stock trading, and now I've made millions from teaching stock trading. I never thought I was going to be a teacher, but when my first TV show, Wall Street Warriors, started airing, a lot of people started emailing me saying, hey, I want to learn. And at the time I wasn't teaching, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm getting all these emails every day. I know that most people who teach on the internet and most people who teach finance are just full of BS. I know I'm real, so that gives me an advantage. Let me try teaching. And now it's been, a fantastic 10-year journey.
That's great. That's beautiful. How do you handle defeat now? Because that's the topic here. Like if you can't handle defeat, you're out. You're done. You're going to go back to getting a job. That's you're waking up. When someone tells you to. And what do you do in that moment of failure? And how do you bounce back?
I look at defeat as just another step in the journey, and it's a crucial step that you can't actually skip over. Too many people want success without defeat. They think they're going to get a full education without making mistakes. Like, defeats and mistakes are your best teachers. So you have to go through that. No one wants to. It's not like a class that you're going to enjoy. It's going to be your least favorite class. But after you get over that hump, if you respond to it well and you keep pushing yourself and you learn what not to do, you'll look back and you'll say, wow, that defeat, that mistake was some of the best things that happened to me. Because now you learn, what it feels like to be that way, and you never want to enjoy that moment, or you never want to experience that moment again. So you're going to work 50 times harder than you did last time to avoid that consequence.
Yeah. That frame right there is I think the frame that allows rich people to continue to build more, and rather than make it succeed and then stop because fear of failure, or fear that maybe I got lucky and really I'm not that good, so I don't want to try again because I already made it once. I think there's some of that going on too.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. We're trying to help people. We're trying to help them like be positive and stuff like that. Some people are just, they'll listen and it'll go one ear and out the other. And you can't be that way. Like, you have to listen to people who have been there and seen it. Like, some people might not connect with me now because now technically I guess I'm successful and they're not. But I've been in their shoes before. So I've been not successful. I've had those mistakes. I've had ridiculous 6-figure days where I've lost 6 figures, and it sucks and it's the worst feeling ever. And I began drinking a lot. Like, I've had those down days, but it's all about how you rebound, and you will look back and you will remember them and you will be grateful if you respond to them well. If you quit, if you say, you know what, this hurts too much, it's not worth it, then you let it win and you lose and you stunt your whole education. It sucks.
Yeah. I was watching a documentary on, it was like the Civil War and like the generals. And what I'm drawing the analogy here between battle is that you have to accept that. I don't think there's any general that goes into battle trying to not lose one soldier. I know that is the goal, to reduce casualties, but you know that men will die. We're going into battle. They have guns. They're trained. We're going to get hurt, but we can still win the battle. And I think too many people try to go into battle thinking that they can have 0 losses, 0 casualties. And I don't think that's possible. If you're going to do something, whatever it is, there's going to be some mishaps, some challenges. And I think you have to really just accept that those losses will happen. And I think the sooner you can do that, then you can really, like, accepting loss before it happens, so that when it does happen, it's not a surprise. It's like, oh yeah, this was in the book, and then this is what I do now. I bounce back.
Correct. You can be mentally prepared. And that's why, we talk about this stuff so openly. My most popular blog posts are about my biggest losses. I want people to be prepared and be like, oh, okay, so I have a bad loss today. This is terrible. This sucks. But I remember what Tim Sykes said about losses. So I'm going to try to stay upbeat. I'm going to try to stay positive. I am going to try to understand that this is a battle. I mean, the reason why I bring up that 90% of traders lose, 90% of startups fail, if you just look at the odds and you look at the stats, like this happens to almost everybody.
Right.
And it is all part of your journey. And it is a crucial, critical part. You know, if you're going to learn how to win on the battlefield, sometimes, yes, you are going to have to lose battles. You have to lose battles in order to win the war, and you need to rearm. You know, sometimes I say, like, the stock market is a battlefield. You need to be properly armed. Like, if you come to a battlefield with just a knife and everyone else has machine guns, it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how well prepared you are. You have the wrong tool, and you will get destroyed. So you need to come to the battlefield with the most ammo, the best tools, the best preparation possible. And even then, there still might be an upset and, you know, you might lose, but at least then you'll know that you did everything possible. Too many people do not do everything possible to put themselves in the best position to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're surprised when they lose. And it's not a surprise. You know, I talk about this with my students. They want hot stocks every day. I would say, what are you going to do? Even if there was the best stock tomorrow, you would probably not be properly prepared. You wouldn't know how to manage your risk. You wouldn't know how to set a trading plan. You wouldn't know when to take profits because you haven't studied enough. So don't look for the best plays every single day. Look to get prepared if and when the best play does show up.
How could this apply to someone who's not investing in stocks? Like being prepared? Are you saying be prepared for the opportunity?
Yes, be prepared as much as you can. It's not just the stock market. I mean, there's different opportunities in different industries. The stock market, and specifically penny stocks, it's very counterintuitive. Like the harder you try to make trades every single day, the worse you will do. You kind of have to wait for the trades to come to you. And, you know, it's kind of the same thing in other industries that I've learned, like with teaching. You know, I didn't go out and say, hey, I want to be a teacher. I saw the opportunity. I saw the demand from my email inbox, and that's where I went. You know, charity, I wasn't like, oh, I want to build 1,000 schools right away. I tried out building one school and saw how it felt, and then it changed my life, and now I wanted more. So I encourage everyone to kind of like test and see and just feel out opportunities. And if it starts feeling right, if it starts, you know, having good signs where you're like, wow, this can really explode, that's when you push. Too many people get like obsessed with an idea and they don't necessarily have all the indicators going in their favor right away, and they don't have all the trends, but in their minds, they're so sure that this is it, they don't really pay attention, and then they go down the wrong path. For me, I really like to just test, and then optimize, and then, you know, really go full throttle later on after I've already done a lot of research, after I've done a lot of preparation. You know, you cannot come into any industry underprepared, because if you do, it will just smack you and you'll learn the hard way.
I like it. What I'm getting is test, get the data, optimize from that data, get the data again, optimize, and then perhaps you're in a position where you can take a bigger shot rather than just taking the big shot right off the get-go because you think you got it figured out.
Yeah, you know, I tell my students to think like a scientist. Like you're looking for like this formula, but understand that there is no like exact formulas in the stock market or in life. And so you have to keep trying different combinations. You know, you're testing every now and then. You might get lucky and you'll be dead on with some formula, you know, and you'll invent like the Bunsen burner or something. But you have to always be testing. And sometimes testing will take months. Sometimes testing will take years. A lot of young people come to me and they say, oh, Tim, it's great that you love what you do, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, try a whole bunch of different strategies. Try a whole bunch of different topics. See which one really grabs your soul and fulfills you, and be adaptable, where if you're in a subject like for me, where it was stock trading, I adapted when I was like, I can teach this to other people. So I wasn't looking for it. I was just open-minded to seeing what kind of stuff came to me, and then I went with it, you know? But too many people are trying to impose their will on the world. That's not how it works. The world will do whatever it wants. The industry that you're interested in will do whatever it wants. You have to try to adapt to that. You can't force it to adapt to you.
I like that. I like that a lot. I feel like just the mindset of treating it like you're a scientist, gathering enough data so that you can take your big shot. So you're making, it's not so much of a risk when you have the data to support the action that you're about to take.
Correct. There was no risk in me getting involved in teaching. I was getting 10 emails a day, then 20, then 50, then 300 emails a day. I mean, every single day I got more and more emails when my stupid little TV show was airing, and the data was right in front of me. If I was a charting guy, the chart would have been, off the hook after like 6 months. So for me, it was so easy. A lot of people were like, "How did you know?" And the charity, like I knew right away when I went to Laos with my family and I visited my first school in Laos. Like, it was one of the best moments of my life to play soccer with these kids at my first school in Laos. And I was like, I want more of this. And that feeling just overwhelmed me. And I would be an idiot to ignore it.
Yeah, that's got to be a priceless experience. What would you say are some of the dumbest things that someone can do once they start making money? Once they're in a position where it's like, oh, like I got something, they're starting to make money, and they've got more than enough to take care of their lifestyle. They're starting to get in a position where they can buy, like they could buy the Ferrari, they could buy Lamborghini, they can start spending money. What do you think are some of the dumbest things you could do in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, just spending big chunks and thinking that, any money making strategy that you have is going to last forever. I made my first million while I was in college, pretty much just buying penny stock breakouts in 99 and 2000. And then the market fell out in 2000, 2001, 2002. And I was forced to learn short selling. A lot of people made money when I first made money in 98 and 99, but they all lost in 2000, 2001 in the crash because they didn't adapt. So understand that any strategy you have might last for a year. It might last for 6 months. Even growing my social media, Snapchat was all the rage a few months ago. Then Instagram killed it with Instagram stories. So you adapt. You can't get too addicted to any one platform and say, oh, this is my only platform. The world is changing at an extraordinarily fast pace, and you need to be adaptable. Obviously, I'm a trader, so I have a trader mentality, but it works well with pretty much everything I do.
Yeah. And in terms of with the money, what do you think they should do? Should they hold it? Should they start saving it? What do you think people should do once they start making money?
It's different for everybody. I mean, some people literally only want to make $1 million in their lifetime. So once they make $1 million, they retire, they, donate it. I think you have to try to figure out what you want to do. I think you need to plan. I don't think that you should invest all in one thing. Like, oh, you hear some people talking about Bitcoin, so then you throw all your money in Bitcoin. I mean, right. Bitcoin is up thousands and thousands of %. Yeah. I think you need to take a breath when you make a lot of money and really strategize and really start to dissect it. Maybe hold back 25%, maybe hold back 50%, and then play with the rest and partake in different stuff. But mostly understand that it can be gone in a heartbeat if you are not careful with it. There's too many people that get too rich too quickly and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. So for me, it's all about like being conservative and just pausing. The world is going to keep moving, but you can pause for a day, for a week, and just keep your money safe. Keep it in a bank account. Just hold on to it and protect it and be grateful for it.
I like that. Do you have down years? Do you have some years where you did like 3x, the year before, and then the next year it's not 3x? It's kind of like what it was like before. Like, is it up and down, or does it trend upward? Because I think that plays with a guy's or a woman's head. It's like 1 year you crushed it, the next year you not so well, and is that the norm?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to be steady. Like, you're not in this 9-to-5 job that's going to pay you and then, increase with a bonus like 6% per year. The stock market, you can't pay your rent. Like, you're not going to have like a bi-monthly, profit in the stock market. It's very up and down, whether you want to, try to divide it up into weeks or months or years. All you can do in the stock market for me is try to take it one trade at a time. As it's turned out, for roughly 20 years now of trading, I mean, I've been profitable for like 18 or 19 of them. I had one down year when I invested in my best friend's dad's company, and I kind of got greedy. I was trying to go for a home run instead of just taking singles. I couldn't even get out of the company if I wanted to because it wasn't a trade. So I learned the hard way. But for me, trading, I take it one trade at a time, one day at a time, and then my results add up over the years. And, I'm winning roughly 65, 70% of the time on my trades. But for me, my gains are bigger than my losses. So I win on average more than I do based on time, and I win more dollar-wise than I do when I lose. So it's very difficult for me not to grow my account. And most of the time I'm growing my account exponentially because I'm focused on small accounts. My strategy does not work if I have, $10 million or $50 million. So I'm kind of condemned to trading with a small account, which isn't the end of the world. And that's frankly why I teach, because I teach people how to grow small accounts. That's what I specialize in. So you have to kind of understand the limits when you are successful. If you are successful, not every strategy, not every industry has unlimited potential where I could just make billions and billions of dollars on penny stocks. Like, it's a small niche. And for me, I found a pretty much a kind of a sweet spot where I can earn, between $200,000 and $800,000 per year from trading. And that's part of the reason why I got into teaching, because I can make more from teaching other people.
Have you ever felt like you weren't the strong, grounded man that you know you're capable of becoming? Like there's something more inside of you, but you don't know how to get it out? Me too. Years ago, I was broke, sleeping on my brother's couch, and just got out of a serious breakup that left me on the floor for months. Now, I have a multiple six-figure business. I'm in the best shape of my life, have an abundant dating life, and live on the beach here in San Diego. I want you to break through too and create the life that you want. And because people kept asking me so many questions, I've created this free video training series on becoming a strong, grounded man so that you can have more freedom, love, and connection in your life. I'll also teach you how to build real backbone to boost your masculinity as a man so that you can have more respect, power, and confidence personally and professionally. Simply go to kfmconfidence.com to get this training. Again, that's kfmconfidence.com. Also, I share the #1 conversation that your father never had with you about women. That will be a major wake-up call for 90% of you and will improve the quality of your relationships forever. Go to kfmconfidence.com to get this free training today.
At the end of the year or at the end of the quarters, like what percent would you say that you would pay yourself versus reinvest back in the business? Like, are your businesses, do they exist to serve your lifestyle and family and what you want to do? Or do you reinvest most of it back in because you want the business to grow without you?
It's a mix. I mean, sometimes we invest in the business, like I now have 40 plus employees. So, we invest in like training them and office space and stuff like that. But at the same time, I mean, I definitely go out and live and enjoy and, donate a ton of money every year to charity. So I don't think there's any one exact science. Everything I do, though, is methodical and strategized. Like you won't see me just waste $5,000 or $50,000 or even $500 on something that I haven't thought through. Right. I am so grateful for literally every single dollar, and I don't want to waste this opportunity. I want to maximize my opportunity. I want to maximize my life. I want to maximize the money that I've made. I want to put it to good use. Yeah.
Are you the face of the business, or are you also the face and you also run the day-to-day operations of your business?
Both. I mean, I'm definitely the face. I have people who help me manage now, because you also have to like pull back a little bit every now and then. Like you can't do everything yourself. You have to recognize, your weaknesses. I mean, I'm blocked on Skype from like half my employees. I just work crazy hours and I don't recognize, normal times of people working and normal times to contact people. And then I get a little offended that other people aren't working 18-hour days. So that's fine. That's a weakness where I just work too much and I have no idea like what is normal for like a normal employee to do. So I have to block myself. And that's the sad truth of that. I mean, I recognize my own weakness. And so I tried to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it. Where do you see the existing business going? 40 employees. That's quite a handful. Is it maintaining what you have now, growing it, selling it, anything like that?
I mean, we've been growing at 75, 100% pretty much year over year, every year. So it's mainly just trying to deal with the growth and trying to deal with the demand the best we can. I wish that the stock market would freaking crash so that I wouldn't have so many opportunities to trade and I wouldn't have so many students, but I'm going to ride it as long as, it's going up. I actually prefer bear markets because it's a little slower. I can kind of catch my breath. So right now we're just kind of going at breakneck speed here. I'm trying to teach the best I can. I'm trying to create content. I'm trying to trade. I'm trying to travel. I'm trying to live my life. It's all a journey, and it's a very interesting journey. So it's keeping up. It's a good problem to have where you have so much demand where you're trying to just organize it.
Yeah. So when you have so much demand, it's obviously going to require a lot of your time, but there's this opportunity, right? Like there's this, right? Like it sounds like there's this opportunity. How do you cut? How do you say, oh, you know what? I got to go on a trip, or like, I got to hang out with the fam. I got to do this, when there's so much opportunity in your business. Like, how do you schedule out vacations? Like, how do you make sure that you are staying sane and having fun and enjoying the whole point of why you built this business?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I knew the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't do a good job
all right.
of work-life balance. You know, there's a joke at like, you know, Amazon where, you know, Amazon is a very competitive place to work and no one there has work-life balance. Like everyone is off balance, and it would be a joke if you did have work-life balance. And the same goes true if you're in the startup world. And for me, it's not like that I have all these competitors where I have to do well, otherwise I go out of business. It's more just like, I have all this opportunity to teach. I have all these opportunities to trade stocks. We have all these new technologies that I want to try. I'm like this, you know, fat kid in a candy factory. And, you know, I'm just trying not to like blow up and eat too much and have a heart attack. I don't know how to manage properly. You know, I'm trying my best, but I definitely am Jewish and greedy. So I just want to do it all. And I can make that joke because I'm Jewish, but most people can't.
Okay. Yeah. So when you have an opportunity, you strike. Like you go all in. Do you ever have? I guess they're called sabbaticals. Do you ever have those periods where you had an opportunity, you went all in, you struck, you did well, and you pull out, and you're just like, hey, I'm 6 months, I'm gone. I'm going to take this next couple quarters off.
Not at all.
Okay.
Every day I'm blogging, making videos. I don't care if I'm traveling. You know, I'm meeting different fans. I'm teaching in person. I'm doing whatever I can to just keep going. Because again, this is such an extraordinary time to be alive and be in business. You know, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years are just going to be insane if you position yourself and you take advantage of all this new technology. So I don't know how to waste that. Maybe I'll slow down when I'm older. Maybe I'll slow down when, you know, the internet has evolved more and there'll be less new technologies to try. I'll slow down if the stock market slows down, but you know, when it's hot, you just got to push it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's the why behind all of that? What's the motivating, the driving force that makes you wake up and continue to crush, even though you are continuously crushing 7,500% year-over-year growth?
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun. It's fun to see what you can do. I mean, I can retire at any time. I have enough money in the bank. I've achieved more than I ever dreamed of. But again, it's like, what can we do? Like, okay, right. I've created a few millionaires. I've opened a few schools. How many millionaires can I create? How many schools can we really open? Can I, you know, okay, I've impacted a few people. Can I impact the world on a big basis, like where I promote social media and education and charity? Like, let's see what we can do. And for me, that's an exciting thing to possibly, you know, try to do. Like in the next few days, you asked me where I am. I was, you know, in Miami. Yeah. I'm back in Beverly Hills. I'm going back to Miami. Then I'm going to Houston. I donated to 3 food banks there. I thought they were all in Houston. No, they're actually in Houston and surrounding cities in Corpus Christi. So when I'm in Houston for 2 days, I'm actually going to 3 different cities that are 3 hours apart each. Then I'm flying to DC the next day. I have a meeting with Bill Clinton. Then I'm flying the next day down to Turks and Caicos with another charity. I'm rebuilding this children's home. Then I'm flying back to LA for Larry King's 84th birthday party, which is also a charity gala that I'm getting recognized on. Then the next day I'm flying over to Bangkok where I'm working with an animal charity. 2 days in Thailand, then 3 days in Cambodia. I'm opening up a new soccer stadium. 4 days over to Laos where I have new schools and another school in Nepal. And then I'm going to close my Asia trip. This is all in October, by the way. This is all this is all in the next 2 weeks.
I thought you're closing out the year.
No. This is all in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh,
and I'm trying to just schedule this. Like, I have to go to Austin and Houston. I don't even have flights. This is like 4 days from now. So this is the kind of demand. That's just my travel schedule. Forget about the fact that I'm making video lessons, watch lists, trading, trying to do commentary, trying to do live webinars, and trying to like just breathe. Like this is my ridiculous schedule, and I love it.
That's incredible. What are you doing with Bill Clinton if you're allowed to share?
I'm not allowed to share, but it's going to be exciting, and I'm excited to meet him. And he's done a lot. I'm not like political, but he has a lot of influence and a lot of power. So we're going to see what we can do together.
That's incredible. Who manages all of that? Do you have these like a VA or an assistant who's managing all of this scheduling?
Who? What are you, an owl? No, there's nobody. It's just me. Like I do all of this because I'm in charge. Like no one else can keep up. I've tried to hire assistants. I have a photographer who's just trying to follow me around. His name is Kevin. He keeps getting sick because he can't even do it. He's supposed to actually be in LA with me, but I sent him home to Baltimore. I said, hey, get better. I don't want you around me when you're sick. So his mom is like making him chicken noodle soup for like a week. Then he's going to catch back up with me when I meet with Clinton. Then he's going to Asia with me. So it's tough to keep up with a crazy person.
All right. And then to conclude here, the question everyone is wondering and has been dying to understand is when you wake up and decide to, let's say, get coffee or go get breakfast, how do you determine if you're going to drive the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, or the McLaren? What are the series of questions and thoughts that go through your head to decide?
Very, very, very good question. So the McLaren is the only one where the doors actually go up, and you have to kind of be a little flexible to like get in and out of the McLaren. Like it's so low, and then you have to like stretch to hold the door up. So if I like just did a workout, I will not drive the McLaren because it will literally like hurt as I try to close the door. So you have to consider that.
Okay.
The Lamborghini gets the most stairs and the most pictures. So if I'm driving like local, that's cool because I'll drive slowly so that, it's not cool to take a picture of a Lamborghini that's going too fast because then the, photo is blurry. So I have to drive on like local roads, not on the highway in the Lamborghini. It's also not as comfortable as the Ferrari. So the Ferrari is what I take on the highway and for longer drives because that's actually really fun to drive. So there are pros and cons to each one. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not.
Wait, so it sounded like the McLaren's on the bottom here.
The doors go up, so I guess it's the coolest. I guess it does best on social media. It's my newest car, but I still like the Ferrari the best for, road trips and handling. The Lamborghini, though, by far just gets the most stairs because it's kind of like obnoxious looking.
And do you have like Tim Sykes or some website on your cars? Like, does this actually promote?
No, I thought about that, but then I was just like, I'm already so like in demand with my students. Like we don't advertise. Like people meet me and they're like, hey, do you have a card? And I'm like, no, like I'm not looking for more students. Like people actually have to apply to work with me. So I don't need to be cheesy anymore. I've kind of reached this critical mass. It's kind of cool, but back when I first began, if I was just beginning right now and I had an exotic car, you're damn right. I would put a logo.
And would you write that? Could you write the car off if you did that?
I don't know. I'm not an accountant, probably. But, I was on this TV show Below Deck a few years ago, and I made all my students wear TimothySykes.com t-shirts, and they actually showed it on the TV show. They made me look like a terrible person. I made $70,000 on this yacht, and they didn't show the trade, even though they have it all video recorded. So you just see me walking around the yacht all happy, and you don't know why because you don't see the trade that made me so happy. So you're like, God, this guy's so full of himself. But I did get the logo on the t-shirts. Then I'll tease that I was on Below Deck again. And this time in the agreement, there was a clause. It's like no logos on t-shirts. And the producers told me, hey, this is the Sykes clause. So I inadvertently altered the whole clause of this TV show because I overused my, logo in a previous year.
All right. And for all of those listening to follow up with Tim, all of the great things he's doing and to learn more about his training programs, TimothySykes.com.
Shh, don't say it. Stop. This was supposed to be a private conversation. You're recording this? Oh my God, what the heck? Yeah, no, it's cool. Like if you want to learn stock trading, if you want to be dedicated, like that's cool. But if you're lazy, just please don't waste my time. I have no patience these days. I have no tolerance, and I can be really mean. I can be a dick. Ask any one of my, number of ex-best friends.
TimothySykes.com. You can also see a lot of great stuff on his social media channels. Timothy Sykes. Literally throw that in Google. It takes you to all of those. Tim, do you have a book that you're working on? I think you have quite the story, which you guys can dive into in the first interview that we did, more so about his coming, really rising. But is there a book in the works?
I have 3 books in the works, and I just actually did an interview with Lewis Howes this morning, and he was like, why do you have all these books that are like halfway done? He has a new book coming out. So I promised him in the next 2.5 months, I have to complete one of them. So I don't know which one yet, but by January 1st, 2018, I will have a new book. I also have a book that I previously published called An American Hedge Fund, and that was pretty much my rise and somewhat of a fall. But now we're going to do more. So it's always good to learn from your journey and to share it, as openly as possible.
Mm-hmm. There it is, guys. Timothy Sykes, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your lessons here with my community.
Hey, thanks for having me. Much appreciated, man.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and millions of downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we're just getting started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a helpful review in iTunes, because it really helps the podcast grow so we can impact even more men in the world who need this. Guys, this is all about living with purpose, where every day you only do things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. And always remember, love the life you have while creating the life of your dreams. Go to kfmfree.com to get a surprise bonus I've made for my listeners. Again, that's kfmfree.com for something that's changed my life, and I'm offering it to you for free. Also, check out my Amazon best-selling books that I've written for you to help you crush life at kfmauthor.com. Again, that's kfmauthor.com to see all the books I've created to help you break through in life. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, founder of knowledgeformen.com, and I'll see you in the next episode.